Get ready for an uplifting experience with Coached Soul. Join us as we bring you the dynamic duo of Steve Hudgens, a licensed professional counselor, and Kenya Evelyn, a transformational leadership coach. Together, they'll guide you through engaging episodes filled with valuable insights and actionable tips on mental health, relationships, self-care, emotional well-being, and personal growth. Coached Soul is your go-to podcast for empowering discussions that will help you thrive. So let's get started and welcome our hosts, Steve and Kenya.
All right, welcome back to Coached Soul. I mean, goodness, we're getting into the April showers that bring May.
Oh, it feels so good. Flowers everywhere.
You get the cut grass and the rain smell. I mean, when I was in Roswell, New Mexico, growing up, because that's where my grandparents were from.
Yes.
The alfalfa and just the spring rain, just something different about a country smell than a city smell.
So true.
And, it just brings back some fresh memories of how my grandparents loved each other. My grandpa would sit every morning, drink his hot cup of coffee, but that pot would be growing into 3 pots. It was iced coffee before iced coffee ever became known
popular.
As coffee. Yes.
That is so good.
And grandmother would just, I remember the sandwiches made with love and care. That was the old-fashioned love that was there, if you want to call it. And then today it's like, Kenya, what happens to couples that just, I was reading some research that 70% of women over the age of 40 initiate the divorce from their male, and it's due because of the menopausal hormonal imbalance that begins there. And so I brought up my grandparents as a segue to let's talk a little bit about this gender role that's happening in America today.
I absolutely love this conversation because obviously I'm a woman and I love being a woman. And I love my role as a woman. Like I wouldn't want to be the man. And here is I'm here to have this conversation with you, Steve, and all our listeners from a very authentic place. I'm not taking sides of anything, and I really want to say this. I'm giving my chair some space because I know things are gonna get heated up here.
Oh yeah.
Because truth takes space. Truth is not something that you can just contain. It's light, is this energy of openness. So I'm giving myself full permission to speak freely. And I am already so grateful that I can speak from this inner perspective, that I have all that it takes. Whatever that means, I know that I, as a human, as a person, as a woman, as a soul, I have all that it takes. I have all the abilities. I have all the energies. I have all the perspective, because I'm a mama of boys and girls. And girl, I do have a girl, not two. And I find it fascinating that sometimes I don't feel comfortable having this conversation out loud in a coffee shop because there's so much heat going on about you're not supposed to have a role. Feminism goes to a way in this moment in time that it's like, we don't need men. We got everything. We're all powerful. We are all this, we're all that. And I love my feminist people. I do not consider myself a feminist. I'm consider myself feminine. And at the same time, I am in my most powerful self as I am speaking and being authentic, celebrating our differences and celebrating our roles. And I really want to invite the audience to think about the role. Okay, some roles are man-made roles, and some roles are just physicality. Like, am I totally able to change my own tire? Yeah. Do I want to? No.
So there's 2 things I want to
Right?
set on the stage here.
Yes.
Let's do number 1. The number 1 for our listeners, please Hear me out on this because I think it brings some light to where things are at.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring in the male perspective into this. Kenya brings the female perspective. Now, how we express ourselves may not be the right fit for you, but this is an authentic way of bringing
100%.
out from professionals that are in the mental health field that do coaching and therapy to be able to bring some truth out in this in a mixed chaotic world. So
With
here's
so much love.
with love,
Like with
yes,
so much love and so much freedom. And I really want to rest on the word freedom here.
correct.
Listen to this podcast as a conversation. If it lands, great. And if it doesn't land, you know what? We would welcome questions.
Right,
Just
because
bring it
that's
in.
where I was going. Thank you for that segue
Mm-hmm.
because if I have a client who is a agnostic and Democrat, and our views are a little different because I'm more of a libertarian
Yes.
because the Republicans and the Democrats, to me, they're not for the people.
They
Okay.
made it impossible to actually take sides.
I'm
So
a
yeah, no.
military person and I
Mm-hmm.
believe in the freedom of the people.
Mm.
Now, just because him and I have differences of opinions doesn't mean we go our ways.
Yes.
We talk, and out of our different viewpoints creates a new viewpoint that is
Ooh.
collaborative and that we can go away not hurt or offended because we both keep an open mind. So that's one thing I'm asking our listeners to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Keep an open
Conversation,
mind about
roundtable
what we're saying.
conversation.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Number two,
Mm-hmm.
here's what I want to set up. Harvard University created a research study of how mentality kind of works. They drew 4 lines. The third line was the longest of the other three. The other three were the same. They hired some actors to go along, and this one person was supposed to come in, not an actor, and pick out of the 4 lines, which one was different? Of course, logic says we're going to pick number 3 because it's different. It's longer than the other 3, even though the other 3 are similar. The other actors chose one that was different. But because of the pressure of the majority, he changed the view from number 3 to 1.
Mm.
So this is the reason why I set up the stage is that we need to realize, and that's another podcast that's coming, to be
Coming up.
authentic to self. I call
So
myself
we're starting by this conversation. It's
right.
very simple. Throw it in, the questions, the argument in the sense that we have opinions, and our opinions is based on our life story and the perspective and the overview of possibility, not from trauma. I really want to highlight that to my listeners. I've done a lot of work and I continue to do work. I will always be doing work, inner work, all the work. So is Steve. So that when we talk from a place of perspective, not from a place of our own personal trauma, our
Correct.
own personal story. We
You
want to
know,
relate from a place of neutrality, understanding, and love.
and
Otherwise, I would be sitting here. May I complete this? Otherwise, I'd be sitting here saying, I hate men because I was abused. Truly. I will be sitting here and say, I will not trust men because they can be forceful, they can be hard, they can be liars, they can be, and then somebody else can sit beside me and say, hey, so is women. Do you want to hear what my mother did? And then they would vomit this information of manipulation, mistrust, abuse. So is that really men and women? Or is that behavior based on trauma, regardless of the gender?
I think that's the key point to our discussion is for our listeners to be able to listen that a lot of times is trauma based.
Mm-hmm.
we can go back to looking at the love that my grandparents had for one another. And yeah, my grandmother even they were both retired when I stayed with them. So, but yet they worked as well. But here's where I'm going to go with this. They respected one another.
Mm.
It wasn't a position of power for either one. Now, will my grandmother get on to my grandfather? Of course. She was a mother hen to him, but he was only 5'8", if that. He
Oh
was short.
goodness. Oh,
But I just remember the good times with them. And then we think of shows, TV shows that have the traditional male role, female role,
yes.
and the pendulum has switched.
Shifted. Well, so here's the thing. Let's start there, shall we?
Let's go for it.
I love being a mom. So this is not trauma. This is delight for me. I absolutely love being a mom. I love nursing. I nursed my daughter for almost 3 years, and God knows I just wanted her to stop. Like, girl, come on, let's go. You have all the teeth. Let's go. Let's get going. Um, I I really enjoy my long hair. I love lipstick. I love being feminine. And at the same time, I am capable of making loads of money. And I just now, in the past 2 years, open up my business to actually be more than a fair trade. In other words, before I was working with anyone, either for free or for pennies, I just wanted to help, truly, because I know of my gifts. And then I was like, wait a second, I am capable of having a really fair give and receive. Because let me tell you what happened when women makes money, when I makes money, it goes for the causes and the people that I love and adore. So I want to make loads of money just because actually the word is not making, is receive. The feminine way of making money, and I say quote, quote, is really having this channel open of receivership and magnetize the right clients, the right causes, and it feels so good. And let me tell you something. When I open myself to really create that kind of wealth in my life, my family got unbalanced. I'm just being honest. Because where attention goes, energy flows. So if I didn't have a house cleaner, if I didn't have a tutor for the kids because I homeschool my kids, if I didn't have all the things, somebody paid the bill because mom wasn't present. I
Mm.
wasn't present. Not to say that I get to be there 24/7. I'm just saying that if you choose to do that, then you won't do this in the entire realm of 360 degrees. No right or wrong, just notice. So back in the day, on the 50s, on the 60s, where women was cooking and baking in dresses and all those cute little dresses that you see on pictures. I know I see on pictures and I think they're fabulous. And the man was the provider and he would just bring the bacon and everybody's smiling. And by the way, they were skinny because mommy was cooking at home. So they were not just eating junk food in restaurants all the time. It appears to be like the picture of the American family or the picture of the Brazilian family, just the picture of the family, period, Latino or American. And all is well. Now, the movement happened when the woman's like, wait a second. Um, Maybe it was out of need, okay? Maybe the woman's like, wait a second, if I am here not working and something happened in my relationship, now I'm stuck. This is a legit concern. If she doesn't have her own money coming in, and if the relationship is a less than beautiful or fair relationship, she truly feels, she could feel stuck because she has no means to provide for herself. Okay, I'm just raising all the goats. Also, 2023, 2024 that we are, things are so expensive. A
Yeah.
household usually needs two incomes to have a life, to have extracurricular activities for the kids, to buy clothes, to buy food. So I'm painting the entire picture, but guess what? The women will always have in her, and I'm speaking for me. If you want to dismiss that, that's totally fine. But that's what I have noticed with hundreds of clients, female. The women will always feel the need to nurture and to create a home environment, a loving environment, the nurturing environment, the connection environment that only the heart of a woman slash mother can create. And this is why we say if mama is happy, everyone is happy,
Everybody's
because
happy.
mom sets the tone.
You know what's interesting, Kenya, is let's switch to a male perspective here for a second.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm having men clients coming to me that are not happy, that are dissatisfied.
Okay.
And what I'm finding is that some of them are not liking that what it boils down to is they don't have a purpose.
They don't
Some
feel
of
needed.
them,
They don't feel needed.
correct, they're not feeling needed because the mother, I mean, the mother in the home is doing everything, and he doesn't feel needed or seen
Mm-hmm.
is the phrase,
Appreciated.
is
Appreciated.
appreciated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times if a man does not work, he does not have purpose. And so he gets beside himself. And there's several that I counsel, and it's like, you got to find yourself purpose. There's a good book, and I'll put a plug into to
Yeah.
John Eldridge here. It's called Wild at Heart. And he
Mm-hmm.
talks about men's purpose, that we need to have a purpose. Now, it's for masculinity. You know, my father worked hard, and I love my father. I love the work ethic that he put into me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing everything that I'm doing. And I stay busy, but I also have a balance in my life too. And I think for men, it's about having that balance. It's not going out every Friday with your guy friends, coming home drunk. That's one thing I've never been. I drink wine, but I never been drunk, and that was by choice. But at the same time, it's men recognizing that women also need help in the home too, but not to be reactive. I counseled a couple yesterday morning in regard to that she was just like, I want to be seen. If I'm in there cooking, I want you to get off your phone and come in and say, hey, do I want some help? And I will say yes or
Mm.
no. But he should not be offended or reactive to what she's saying.
So
So,
I feel an entire retraining of society,
oh,
because
sure.
here's what I'm hearing you saying. Are we really having that talk about being seen? I mean, women does not want to be seen when the man comes home. She wants to be seen all the time,
Right.
like every second. Like, how many times can you say I love you? Not enough. I'm just telling you. Like, it's a matter of, it lands like water in a garden. It
Yes.
feeds my soul anytime and every time. Thank you for doing the laundry. Thank you for folding. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you. I see that acknowledgement. Thank you for taking the dogs out. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Every human, that's what I'm saying. I don't think this is a gender conversation. I think it's for us, for me, for you listeners, to drop the assumptions. We're all seeking the same thing: to be heard, to be seen, to be loved, to be appreciated. But there are, and I want to put a but, a comma, and there are levels, because I noticed when I did started to work, and I'm going to be very vulnerable here. I don't know if my husband's going to see this or not. Um, and he was proud of me and all the things, and bringing money and having more freedom and doing all the stuff. And there is an identity. I'm just going to say it. There is an identity for the man that when the man provides, he feels like accomplished. So to
And
the
speaking
women's now, absolutely.
as a man, I do feel that when, for me, I enjoy that compliment. I enjoy knowing that And it's funny because sometimes, going through my doctorate's class, a girlfriend that I was dating would say, "That's an awesome job that you did there," and I'm thinking, that was nothing.
Yeah.
But I said, "Thank you for your compliment and recognizing me, whether I felt like I needed it or not."
Yeah.
The thing about is that if you respond to her, that allows her to have that nurturing ability to continue in that nurturing status
Mhm.
of, I'm proud of my man.
Well, and if they're both working
Yes.
outside, or even and by outside, I mean bringing income,
Yeah, outside of
attracting
the
more
home.
money,
Right.
even if you're working from home, because
True.
before we used to say if they're both working outside of the home, but this
Right.
is 2024, we're all Zoom, we're on Zoom mode. If they're both working, all the work then is for everyone. That means that the cooking is for everyone, and the laundry is for everyone, and the cleaning is for everyone. There is no he or she. And I'm just gonna say it, nobody folds and organized like a woman. I'm just saying.
I don't know. There's some military personnel that I see
Maybe,
that are very,
maybe a couple here and there. I'm telling you, I double dog dare you to decorate the way I decorate. I'm just saying.
well, uh,
Maybe you can fold.
I'm just a
I'll give you the
one-off
folding.
person, Kenya. So I can't count myself.
Yeah.
I
Here,
had
what I'm saying is the joy. Like, because for me,
it
making
is.
things pretty, make things pretty does something to my spirit. That's what I'm
Women
saying.
have a knack and a touch for being able to create a home. For me, I don't like bare walls. My mother kind of taught me how to decorate. My father taught me how to hunt and work on cars. So I could cook, sew, clean, whatever. I'm just a jack of all trades.
Hey,
And
ladies, he is available and he knows everything. Hello, this is just, I'm just, yeah,
don't
opening
blow
up
up my head. I
here.
won't fit on Zoom anymore.
Woo, come on out.
But
He's a jack of all trades.
it's being able to know that with knowing who I am, and that's another podcast that we need to get into, but with a gender here, right? I still can cut grass. I can still fix things. If my ceiling fan goes out, I know how to put one up and get it fixed. If something is there, that's just my personality that comes out. That if something goes wrong, I want to
You're
fix it
there.
right there on the
Yeah.
spot, right? So, is that a gender specific role that a woman stays in the kitchen and the men do all the maintenance? No,
Gosh,
because
no.
I find it and please pardon this expression. I find it very sexy when a woman is working on a car too, or working alongside me and getting all grassed up with me. You know what I mean? It's just something about the intimacy that's there that we're
Mm,
co-creating. I love that word that you use.
that is not nothing to do with gender roles. It has to do with
Correct.
she took time to create that word, intimacy, wherever you were being. It's like, well,
Right.
let's do it together. Let's co-create. Let's create a third form over here. Here's what I want to hook you back to that reel we saw, where this woman is just saying, okay, so women, you tell me you have the power to hook a man and give birth to a child, and now he's like slave on giving you alimony, and you have the power to seduce, you have the power to create right and left. So, and you also have the power to put the man in jail when you tell him that he didn't do it or you didn't do it. So she painted a picture as the woman is the problem, therefore she's the solution.
Mm.
And when I heard that, I was not watching and hearing her words. I was listening to her body language. I was really watching, and she was so authentic. She is bought into what she's saying. And truly, Steve, I just want to shake her loose. Like, what are you saying? Shake, 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 shake. Like, are your marbles together? Because here's the thing. If you're going to put, and she was specifically speaking towards the movement against patriarchy.
Yes.
Patriarchy society where the man ruled over the women and created all this pain, where women had no voice, and he was abusive and raped and created all that stuff. Now there's this women movement over here, which is the pendulum swing over there, where the women is the priestess, the goddess, the medicine women, the white witch, the whatever you want to call, and she's all powerful and middle finger, I don't need you. Here's where I'm at. I am all the women I just mentioned. The medicine women, the powerful, the teacher, the goddess, the priestess. I am all that. And you can rest assured that I welcome my king. The queen, right? Yes, queen. You know that saying. Now it's like a slang. Come on, queen. What that really means, in my opinion, listeners, please, this is one personal opinion, but based on hundreds of sessions, we crave our masculine whole. We crave our men, the companion. We crave them strong. We don't want a weak man. We don't want a man we don't want to castrate our man so we can feel powerful. That creates no polarity. And to that word, what I notice in my own relationship, which is a constant co-creation, Jeremy and I, is that I was craving a relationship I never had with myself. And please let me breathe as I say this again. What I was really craving is a relationship within me, with my feminine and my masculine, where my feminine energies inside of me is the all surrender and all magnetic and all fun and all grounded. And the masculine in me is at the doers guy, right? The focus, the strategies, the aligned action, the go-getter. I was craving that marriage of trust inside of me. As within, so without. As within, so without. So as I have that within, as I acknowledge that that was the relationship that I was craving my entire life, and I was never going to find that outside of me. Now I get to live the relationship that I do have outside of me from a place of wholeness first, which does not mean that I don't need him, middle finger. It means I am so whole and beautiful within me. I'm ready to co-create.
You know, we've got like 2 minutes left, Kenya, and I want to wrap this up because we're going to
we get to continue.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to do part 2 because this is fixing to get heated because I'm going to bring in something that's going to be a cliffhanger.
Let's go.
The word submission. And when I think about a faith-based and how it's been misused in religion, faith-based, by men, by preachers, by women, and the word submission, you just gave me a thought that's going to carry in part 2. Okay. So I hate to do this to my listeners, but you know what? I hate to do it to ourselves too, because you got to wait for next week for this. And how chaotic is this going to be? Because I do want you to tune in, because I want to bring in a different perspective on the word submission. And so until next time, please. Before you go,
yes,
go ahead.
Before you go. Yes, this is a cliffhanger. And here's a little bit of homework, because I don't want them in anxiety for a week, shall we?
Oh, thank you, Kenya.
All right. And a little homework, a little soul work, if you will. Notice what you notice about your being, and what do you crave that you have the illusion that you don't have in your relationship. Do a homework in your journal answering the question, what do I want my romantic relationship to be like and to feel like? Just journal that. What would be the perfect, the beautiful, the connected relationship that you crave? Get clear on that until next week.
Until next week, take care.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Coached Soul, where we aim to empower and uplift you on your journey towards personal growth and well-being. Remember, As you navigate through life, you don't have to do it alone. We encourage you to reach out to professionals, seek support from loved ones, and take the time to prioritize your own well-being. Stay tuned for future episodes filled with even more valuable insights and actionable tips. Remember, you have the power to thrive. And with Coach It Soul by your side, anything is possible. Until next time, take care, stay empowered, and keep shining your brightest light. For more information, contact Kenya at kenyacoachedsoul.com.